While most people are chasing the latest AI startup, there's a handful of unglamorous, unsexy, boring businesses out there that make a lot of sense to actually buy if you're trying to put yourself in the position to create great cash flow and create kind of a cushion for yourself. And today we're going to talk about these 5 businesses that are quietly printing cash behind the scenes that could be great businesses for you to buy in 2026. We're going to rank them on a handful of criteria, being recurring revenue. How often do customers come back and buy again and again? How are the profit margins? What is the resistance that they have to any kind of recession? How easy are they to actually buy or acquire? And what is the level of dependence that they have on you as the new owner if you were to buy them? So let's get right into it. So the first one that we're going to go over is one that is surprisingly common out there. I've met a number of people that own these types of businesses, and I'm just realizing again and again every time I talk to one that these are great, solid businesses to buy for a lot of reasons that we're going to talk about. But number 5 is going to be commercial cleaning. Commercial cleaning is really a great business because the market is just massive. The global cleaning services market is about $416 billion, and it's projected to reach $620 billion by 2030. So the reason it ranks here at number 5, though, is it does have strong recurring contracts. These are often the types of things where as long as you're doing a good job, you're going to keep these contracts for a long time. They're worth good money. And it really it's very labor intensive and it's very owner dependent though. The thing about this type of business is you really have to be front facing as an owner, and you have to be out there constantly networking, shaking hands, making new deals and winning business to continue to grow it. So this is going to be the type of business that is very valuable to acquire, but you've got to keep a lot of output going to really keep it going well. Now, the tip that I would give you if you're looking to buy a business like this is you want to look for one with actual solid multi-year contracts in place, one that is actually going to stay solid over time and continue to work with the contracts that it's been working with. You want to look for one that has a lot of that recurring revenue already in place, because that way you won't have to go out and win all of the new business. Now, rank number 4 is one that maybe you've heard about before. This one gets talked about a lot in the space. This is going to be vending machine routes. So specifically, you want to look for already existing routes. You're not just buying a single vending machine or a collection of machine and trying to go put them out there. You want to buy a vending machine route where they're already out there making money. And this is because there's already proof of concept. They're already generating cash. Now, you also have kind of a documented history of how long those sales have been going on. Now, the entry cost can be as low as $2,000 or $3,000 for a single new machine. So growing a business like this is something that is not going to take insane amounts of capital to do. And on average, these machines generate about $300 per machine per month. So it's going to take a little bit to pay them back, but realistically, you could be buying new machines and maybe having them paid back within the first year or two, which is not too bad. This is kind of a long-term play, but if you buy one where the routes are already out there, it's going to be very low upkeep to just keep up with everything. And there's more and more technology out there now to be able to keep track of the purchasing behaviors that customers are showing on these types of vending machines if you have smart technology integrated. Now, the reason it ranks here and not higher is that the income scales with the number of machines. So you do need a lot of vending machines to generate serious amounts of cash at only $300 a month, especially as they're kind of paying themselves back to get the investment. So you really do need a high volume to be able to do well with this. And the other thing is location is everything. It's not super easy to get great locations. And as you scale with these, you're going to need to have kind of a specialized knowledge of where to put these to have the best success with them. So little tip, if you're buying something like this, you want to buy something that has great solid locations already that have a history of profitability, and you want to focus on making sure that those locations are going to be able to stay intact. If there's not a solid contract or agreement in place for these locations, then whoever is the tenant of that location could just, you could buy this route and all of a sudden tomorrow they say, hey, you know what, I don't really care to work with you. take your machine out, and then you're screwed and you have to find a new location. So try to find something that has solid ones in place, and they're going to be there for a little while. Now, number 3 on our list is a home service that I really like. It's pest control. The global pest control market was 22.6 billion in 2023. It's projected to be 34.3 by 2020 or by 2030. So this is growing very fast. More and more people are electing for this type of service. And pest control services deliver net profit margins of 15 to 30%. So pretty solid. Most clients tend to renew quarterly or annual contracts pretty consistently, and the customers rarely switch service once they have a reliable provider. So if you're buying into an existing pest control business, you're going to have pretty solid recurring revenue. Now, the reason it ranks here is that there are a lot of regulatory challenges coming up in here that limit new competition, and it makes it makes it harder for you to lose those contracts too. So if you buy into a business like this, you're going to have a little bit of a moat around you where it's not as easy to get in and be a new competitor here. So those contracts that you have, if you do have them in the first place, they're going to be pretty sticky, and you're going to be likely to be able to keep that revenue. Now, a little tip, if you are buying something like this, similar to the other ones, you want to buy an established route with contracts. You're essentially buying an annuity of money if you do this right. And like I said before, most clients in these types of businesses are not going to switch unless you give them a really good reason to, unless you're really bad with the service. As long as you're kind of keeping things up, this is the type of thing that people want, just out of sight, out of mind. So you're likely to be able to keep it up as long as you can just keep the train on the tracks. Now, number 2 on our list is self-storage units. Self-storage units are, they work in virtually any economy. There's never going to not be a need to store extra things. So this is something that has incredibly high recession resistance. It's not a very elective type of purchase. People are always going to have extra things that they need to keep somewhere. So another thing is it's one of the highest profit margin things that you can have in something that's kind of a real estate adjacent business, because there's just minimal staff required. This is the type of business that really does kind of run itself if you set it up right and you have the right systems around it. And it's not fully passive. No business is fully passive, but it becomes a lot more close to passive than a lot of these other businesses, because you really just have people continuing to pay month over month, and they come in, they service things themselves. The reason that it ranks here is that it has that passive nature, extremely low labor costs, and it's really got strong demand during both economy booms and busts, because there's always things moving around. People are moving from one place to another. If things are going well, maybe they're moving into more expensive areas and they are buying more stuff and have more stuff to store. If things are not going as well, maybe they're downsizing and they still have a need for storage. So these are going to be just really solid businesses across the board. Now, a tip for buying something in this market is you want to target markets with limited new supply, you want to look for climate controlled units that kind of command that premium pricing, because this is going to give you better margins and kind of price you outside of some other ones. And the last one on our list is car washes. Car washes are just fantastic. They generate annual return on investment on average of 20 to 35%. And you're able to break even with them on average in about 2 to 4 years. The great thing about car washes is the membership model. This is something that's becoming more and more standard. And you can kind of think of this as the Planet Fitness business model. So many people will get car wash memberships and not actually use them even every month. So you're not going to necessarily be exerting all of the labor costs and the materials costs that you would if people were using their memberships regularly, but you're still going to be making the revenue. And it's one of those things that's such a small monthly cost. It's very rare that people decide to cancel this. So this is going to just keep a bunch of subscriptions in place. You can run specials to get new members, and you can really have a lot of members at one individual location without ever being too worried about hitting any kind of capacity, because people just come at all different times. And this type of business is very minimal staff, recession resistant. people do tend to wash cars in most types of economies, and it's almost fully automated. You do have some upkeep and some maintenance on these types of businesses, but for the most part, people just come through like a conveyor belt and they're consistently going through. And you're just getting that membership revenue. Now, a little tip to buy these is you want to obviously prioritize locations that have existing membership bases. So you don't want to buy a new one. You want to buy one that's been around for a little while and has had time to consistently generate a high number of members that are going to continue to pay month over month. And this is the type of business that if you have a car wash membership, you probably have no idea who the owner of that car wash is. So this is maybe one of the least dependent on you. This and self-storage both have very, very little dependence on who the actual owner is to be out there generating business. And it kind of generates the business itself. So you don't really have to worry about a transition as much with a business like this either. If you're buying it from someone else, you don't have to worry too much about customers falling off and changing to a different car wash, as long as you kind of keep things going and keep them consistent. So this has been the top 5 boring businesses that you could consider buying in 2026 if you're looking to generate cash flow and have something solid meant to last for time and time again that can resist different types of economies. Let me know if there's one that you think that I missed in the comments. And we do these every Tuesday night around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in next week. We'll see you on the next one.